Miss Caitlyn Jenner, thanks for welcoming us in your home.
Well, thank you. Can I start this off?
Yes. Sure.
Okay, what are we trying to accomplish with this?
Well, we want to show that, you know, you've had many different challenges in life, as all people do, everything from your athletic career. I'm a big fan of motorsports. That's actually how I first got to know you.
Gotcha.
Laguna Seca, was there a lot as a kid and stuff like that.
So, I remember running there. Yeah, it's beautiful.
And then, of course, you know, having a family that was out in the forefront, what that was like. And then, you know, when you knew that you were going to make your transition, what was that like in, you know, in a public eye? And so
it was not actually, when I looked at your bios, I'm thinking these two guys got more issues than I have. Oh, okay.
No argument there.
I had no drug issues, no nothing.
I've been busted a time or two
no sexual problems, no this, that. I just changed genders. That's all. I had to deal with that.
But people don't want to hear from us. People want to hear from you. So
they've already heard your story.
Oh, they know my story. They're just like, Mikey, shut up, dude. Let's hear something else.
All right. So where do we start?
You were drinking yourself. For me, most interesting is just, I would like to know what athletics meant to you. Like, really, when you were growing up, and why it was so important.
Well,
because
everybody growing up, all young kids, have things they have to deal with. Stuff. I call it stuff. I was a dyslexic kid. Perceptually, I just had a hard time getting words up off a piece of paper. The bigger issue with that is your confidence in yourself. Bigger than the reading problem is you don't feel smart. Everybody else is moving faster. You're struggling getting these words out. You don't want really anybody to know, so you're kind of hiding. I had identity issues, which back in the 50s and 60s when I was growing up, there wasn't even a name for it. So you just keep your mouth shut and move on. But, and then all of a sudden in 5th grade, we had, in gym class, we had a running race. And it was around a bunch of chairs or a bunch of cones that were set up in the parking lot. You started at one place, and the coach says, I'm going to go one at a time. I'm going to time every kid in school. So, of course, my turn came up. I said, boy, okay, I'm ready to go. Anyway, I had the fastest time in the whole school. And it was like the first time I ever accomplished anything in sports or in school. Was running around a bunch of chairs. I was better than everybody else in the whole school. This is cool. Kids need, at that age, I'm in 5th grade, you need a pat on the back. Yeah. You know, you need to know you can do something better than the next kid. And I wasn't getting that in the classroom.
Sure.
And so that was kind of the beginning of my journey. I was really intrigued by it. Go on the football field, take a guy, good student, good reader, clean his clock. Yeah. That feels good.
Yeah, right.
Yes, that's a good feeling.
You got a better grade than me, but I'll knock your ass out.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You got it. So that's kind of how it started. I never in a million years ever thought I would take it as far as I did take it. But after it was all over with, you know, the games were over with, this and that, years go by, you kind of look back on your life and you're trying to figure out, because I look at that lifestyle that I was living at that time. I was living on $10,000 a year, driving a 63 VW Bug I paid $175 for, and living in this little dinky apartment, and you know, $145 a month apartment, and you know, training 6 to 8 hours a day.
Right.
You know, that's what I did. I trained and lived on nothing. And I look at that today, and I look at the dedication and how much time and energy I put into it. I go, why did I do that? And I have to look back, and you go back even farther. I look back and say, you know what? If I had not had those issues, being dyslexic and gender dysphoric and these things, confusing things in my head, I wouldn't have needed sports. Let's say like I was just an average kid getting average grades and kind of fitting in with everything. When sports came around, I really wouldn't have needed it.
Yeah.
But for me, I needed it. And it set up a pattern that really led me all the way through the games. And it's interesting because my biggest asset athletically was not my physical skills. I was okay physically, you know, I could get the job done physically, but my mental skills. I was just mentally so strong that when I needed a performance, I would come up with that performance. I would do all the work that it took necessary to be there. Yeah, I look at an athlete in two ways: the athletic body, the athletic mind.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Okay, you know, and you can just about weigh every athlete there. Okay, you take Larry Bird.
All right.
Okay, not the greatest moves, not the highest jumping guy in the NBA, but with 2 seconds left on the clock, you threw that ball to Larry Bird.
Give it to him.
And Larry's going to get the job done.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever it takes. That's that athletic mind. You know, even Magic Johnson the same way. And you've seen a million athletes come in with just phenomenal talent, but they never make it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they don't have the head for it. They don't know how to do it. Every once in a while, that rare combination comes about of great athletic mind combined with a great athletic skills. And that's a Michael Jordan in his prime. That's a Tiger Woods for that first 10 years he was, you know, playing golf. He was just dominant. He had everybody. His head was right there. And when I say an athletic mind, it's not just about competition. It's about going out and doing the work when nobody's watching.
I immediately thought Michael Jordan when you said that.
I was
Michael Jordan worked his butt off every year. Even though he had 5 or 6 NBA championships, every year he worked harder and harder and harder.
Right.
You know, and when no one's watching, and that's the athletic mind, pushing yourself.
Sure.
You know, and Tiger was the same way.
Yeah. I was thinking Lewis Hamilton because I'm a big Formula One guy.
Oh, I'm a big fan of him. Yeah, Lewis won this weekend. Yeah. I can't believe he didn't qualify very well, but he
killed him in the rain. See, I was telling you.
He did kill him in the rain. I ran into him last year.
Really?
And, yeah.
Anyways, I'm sorry.
I agree. I think Lewis Hamilton's a great example. Obviously, he's got a great team.
Yeah. It doesn't hurt.
In racing, you can't win without a really good car. Okay? I don't care how good you are if you don't have the equipment. But that's part of him putting himself in that position to be with that team and to do what he has to do with that team, to stay there, to have every guy that's, you know, they have like 1,000, you know, people working on his car.
It's insane.
I mean, working on his car, he has to have all those people really like him,
you
know, and really work for him.
Yeah.
And that's his attitude, the way he treats people and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it's part of it. If you're a jerk, you're going to say, man, you know,
the leg didn't get that tight. Oh, well.
Yeah, I know.
I missed it. What do you want from him?
Yeah. And so, anyway, so I'm kind of thankful for all those things that I had to go through because it kind of got me to the place that changed my life.
That's right.
You know, you win the games.
Yeah, absolutely. And what was it like in the actual... I've heard athletes say because you're kind of held up at the Olympic Village that you're not doing as much of the fun and stuff going on. What was your Olympic experience like for you?
Well, when you look back on it, you say, oh, it was fun. But when you're going through it, it's not fun. It's a job.
Yeah.
I went to 2 Olympics, in 1972 in Munich. And I wasn't even ranked in the top 10 in the U.S. going into the trials and came out of nowhere and snuck into 3rd place. Changed my life forever. So I got to go to the games in Munich. And I was only 22. I'd only run the decathlon for 2 years. Way ahead. I never expected to be there. It was like overwhelming.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like the countries, the history, the pageantry, the opening ceremonies. It's just ridiculous. You want to go to opening ceremonies? Story?
Yes.
So I'm standing there in 1972, you know, still wet behind the ears. You know, I don't think what am I doing here? And we had these white outfits on. And the pageantry, I mean, the country's coming in, and finally the U.S. team comes in. We're all dressed in white, and we stand in our little place, and we're watching the ceremony and the lighting of it. Just as they light the torch, if you've ever seen, they let the doves of freedom out.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're not doves; they're pigeons. Okay. And I'm standing there. And they had these.
You heard it here first.
I saw at the far end, not too far, maybe 30 or 40 yards away, they had this long, about 6 foot high box up at the length of the infield, all the way down at that end. I didn't even know what it was. And then all of a sudden, wham! Somebody pulls all of the stuff off, and these pigeons by the hundreds come out. And they had been cooped up there for a while. And all of a sudden you hear bang, bang, boom, 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 boom. Guys next to, I didn't get hit. I was lucky. I missed it. It went right by me. The guy beside me got pigeon stuff all over the white outfit.
Because you got those reflexes.
And I'm thinking, this is the Olympic movement? You know, this is what it's all about? Yeah, I always remember that from 72. But going to the Olympics in 1972, I stood around, stayed after, I got 10th, which I was very happy with. I was happy to be there. Got 10th, and I stayed around and watched the victory ceremony for Nikolai Avilov. I'd never seen a gold medal ceremony happening right in front of me. You know, I've seen it on TV a lot, but never like right there.
Yeah.
30 yards away is the ceremony. And this guy from the Soviet Union, Nikolai Avilov, won, broke the world record that day. And I'm in kind of awe of what he just did, and really watched the ceremony, and that's when everything changed. I said, you know, I watched it, I was so inspired, and I basically thought to myself, you know what? I'm a kid, I'm only 22 years old. Yeah. You know, I never expected to get this far. What if I take the next 4 years of my life, and every minute of every day I test myself just to see how good I could become at something, you know? And because you know what? Looking at Avilov standard, that's what I want out of life right there. And I said, I'm going to basically give up everything in my life for the next 4 years and then move on after the next. If I don't do it in the next 4 years, sure, I'm not going to stay around. Yeah. You know, there's other things in life besides, you know, running the decathlon. Plus, I can't make any money at it. So I really made the decision right there that I was going to do that. And I was so pumped up that night after running in the decathlon for 2 days. But that night, I'm laying there and I'm just thinking, I know where I'm going. I don't know if I'm going to get there, but I made a decision to give it everything I got. And I'm laying there, my heart's pounding. The adrenal glands, it was like midnight. And I said, all of a sudden in my head, I get this ticking sound. And it was the clock ticking. And that's when it started. I got up out of bed, midnight, went for a run through the streets of Munich, Germany, training for the games 4 years from now.
That's awesome.
And that was just pretty much the obsession from that point on. Yeah, I trained every day, moved to San Jose, so I was living in Iowa at the time, and did everything I could, gave up everything to see how good I could become at something. Yeah. And I got pretty good.
You got pretty damn good also.
Yeah, so. I got pretty good. Yeah, and then walked away.
Was that hard?
I knew.
I was going to say, how did that
hard?
feel?
No.
Because you said 4 years prior said that this is the one more time I'm going to go for it, and what I get is what I get.
No, I had not lost a meet in 3 years. I was ranked #1 for the last 3 years, 74, 75, 76. Broke the world record 3 times in that period. Nobody had beaten me.
Right.
I was like, I better win. And yeah, there was just nobody out there. I was prepared. I just knew I was like ready. And I ran the first event, the 100 meters. And I ran the best 100 meters of my life at 9 o'clock in the morning. And I just basically said to myself, I didn't say it to anybody else because I didn't want to get them upset, but it's over with, guys. You know, it's done. I still got 9 events to go, 20 hours of competition, 9 events to go. And if my 100 meters is on like that, you guys just don't have a chance. You know? You guys are screwed, man. And ran the best meet of my life. Yeah. If I added up my best score at all 10 events going in, which I did, I would score 8,678 points if I did perfect in all 10 events. I scored 8,634 points.
Holy shit.
Wow.
So I was about as close to perfect as I could possibly get. And yeah, and after it was over with, the ceremony, the whole thing, I just said to myself, you know what? And I knew I was walking away and I would never, ever, ever do this again.
Yeah.
I thought, how lucky I am.
Huh.
Because how many athletes can be in their sport for years and be totally satisfied? You climbed every mountain.
Yeah.
You conquered every mountain. You know? Not too many athletes can say that. They all say, oh, I missed this, or I wanted this over here. There was another record I wanted to get, and this and that. There was nothing left. And so it did make it easier, walking away, accomplishing everything, climbed every mountain.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the first time I broke the world record, I was like ecstatic. I couldn't believe it. Jeez, you just broke the world record. Second time I broke it, I go, I had a good meet. You know, it's kind of like, yeah, I've already climbed that mountain.
Right.
You know, and I knew there was no motivation to continue on, and I knew I was going to quit anyway. I knew that for the finality of it all was actually very good because I could train every day knowing that someday I'm not going to be doing this, and I could give up a lot.
Right.
You know, but then it was over.
Did that idea that you know there was a finale to it coming allow you to be all in every day?
Yeah. Absolutely. It was a great motivating factor.
Sure.
Every day I got up and I said, this is the last day. When this one's gone, I can't get it back.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get everything out of this day I possibly can. And so, had the finality of it all.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's a year away. It's, 2 years away. It's 6 months away. It's 3 months away. You're counting it down and you're being really smart with your training and doing everything you can. So, yeah, I mean, if I would have had the attitude of, well, if I don't win it this time, I'll probably still be around in 4 years.
Right.
No, that was not the attitude.
Right.
That was it.
That's just kind of the go-getter nature that you just have to have with life in general, though, right? I know that's the thing when, me in recovery and speaking with lots of people that's kind of addicts, we fuck that mentality up real well. And so I think when coming out of it, we kind of have to do that. There's, for me nowadays, I get frustrated or upset with my kids, didn't pick up their room or whatever it is, and it's just, no, gratitude. my son, Caitlyn, my son.
Fatherly love, yes. I raised 10 kids. Beat them. Beat them. No. Yes, we're not going there.
But my point is with success and successful people, you kind of have to have that mindset of that every day is a maximum day. It's a maximum effort.
I said after it was all over, I thought, and I've had times like this, boy, have I had times like this. I always thought, after it was all over with, and even when I was training, making no money, training my butt off, but every day I woke up excited about the day. I couldn't wait for the day to start. And I thought, you know what, I always want to do that. I always want to have something in my life I'm striving for. Yeah. So when I wake up in the morning, I'm excited about the day. And today things are different. There's different things to get excited about. But I get up early. I'm up by 5 in the morning. I'm going. I get up before everybody else. I mean, the old days it was carpooling kids to school and helping them out and doing what I can to.
But today was probably the same because you were probably ecstatic to do the interview with us, though, right? So
absolutely. I couldn't sleep last night. Or was it the dog? The dog, I think, was leaning on my leg. Oh, yeah. The dog sleeps with us.
Your dog's awesome.
Yeah. But anyway, I mean, everybody has to deal with their stuff.
Yeah.
Okay? Everybody's got stuff. Okay? I had stuff. I remember the next morning after the games, I went into the bathroom, and the medal was sitting on the counter in the bathroom, not a stitch of clothes on, folding the mirror. I look in the mirror, and I look at the medal, and I go, oh, fuck, what did I just do? Did I build this character up so big that I'm stuck with him for the rest of my life? I had all these other issues. There was more to me than just running.
Yeah.
And I had identity issues and this and that. And honestly, I kind of got scared because almost like I lost my little shield, my little beard that I could hide behind.
Sure.
And, but I built this character up so big,
Yeah.
you know? Am I stuck with him? It's not really me, but am I stuck with him now? And it really kind of bothered me for a while. Fortunately, you know, within a week, I actually had a job. Somebody offered me a job. This is wonderful. Yeah, ABC offered me a job. And I thought, okay, well, now the athletic career is behind me. Now I'm, you know, Wheaties offered a deal to do the commercials for them, and you're actually making a living, pretty good living. And I thought, okay, well, I'll just forget about all my identity stuff and just concentrate on trying to build a career here. So I worked extraordinarily hard, gave a lot of speeches, you know, worked real hard, and tried to learn the business, you know.
Yeah, I was.
You want my Howard Cosell story?
Oh God, yeah, Howard Cosell. Give me
Howard Cosell. Speaking of sports,
I grew up with like Saturday Night Live, so I did all the voices.
Yeah, oh, did you? You had it all down.
Yeah.
So a good Howard Cosell story. So at the games, when I competed on the second to last day, the final day was the finals in boxing in 1976. That year, we had like the best boxers, you know, Sugar Ray Leonard, Spinks, all these guys, you know, were just cleaning up. We don't do that anymore.
No.
But in 76 was kind of the last great year of boxing, and Howard's doing commentary. Well, obviously, it's the day after the games, and I'm getting a lot of press. And Howard makes a comment during one of the boxing matches. He goes, you know, these kids, they're from the ghetto. They've got no Hollywood contracts to go to. Taking a little shot over my belt, you know. I heard that. Oh. And then that night there was an ABC rap party. I went, and he barely said hi as he went by. Cut to 3 months later, I signed a deal with ABC. My first show I ever did was right down the street here, Pepperdine University, Battle of the Network Stars, Network One, Pepperdine University, working with Howard Cosell. And this is my first job. And I've never even held a microphone. You know, I've been interviewed by people, but I never held a microphone or never asked a question. Somebody else does that, you know. And I know nothing about television. So, and the one thing you want is Howard on your side.
Oh, I'm sure in those days,
So, I get there the first day. You know, big TV trucks, wires going everywhere. Everybody speaking a language I don't even know. And Howard's there. He said hi. And then I always called him Mr. Cosell. I said, Mr. Cosell. I said, can I just talk to you for a second? And he kind of looks at me. All right, kid. So we go off on the side. I said, Mr. Cosell. I said, this is my first job. I've never done this before. And I said, but I signed a couple-year deal. I'd like to learn this business. And you know what? There's nobody better to learn it from than you. I said, you're the true superstar in this industry. I said, if you don't mind, if I follow you around today, I'd like to watch what you do and how you do it. And if I have any questions, I'd like to be able to, you know, to ask you. And I said, if you have any criticism or you want to give advice, I'm all ears, because I couldn't learn it from a better person. And he looks at me and opens up his arms, gives me a hug, and says, kid, stick with me.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
And so he actually became my mentor. I mean, during that first broadcast, Don Ohlmeyer was in the truck, and he would say, Ohlmeyer, Jenner's going to do this one. I got them all ready. You know, Jenner's going to do this one. And he would actually see a show I did, you know, a year later, and call me up and you know, make his, you know, his suggestions on all of the things that I did. And kid, you did a good job with that interview. That was good, and this and that. So we became like best buddies.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Even when he came out of his book and just destroyed everybody else. Remember that book he had near the end?
Yeah.
And just got a lot of flack for it. Never said one bad thing
Not
about
you,
me.
though.
Yeah,
You were good.
I was his kid. Yeah. Anyway, I thought you would like a good
Oh, I love
story.
it. No, because I've always just loved broadcasting. I'm dyslexic as well, and so I was a very, very, very shy kid. But when I found like performance and that I could be goofy and make people laugh, and that's how I fit in. And I did sports too. I was pretty decent basketball player and track as well. But
What'd you run in track?
long jump and high jump.
Really?
Yeah.
What did you do?
I did water polo. I did water polo and I skateboarded for 15 years. That was my thing.
5150 is power. The power to overcome. The power to persevere. The power to set your life on a course for success. When you're faced with the challenges life throws at you, you focus and do what is needed to go beyond what is required. So stand up, stand firm, believe, make it happen, and live through the madness, knocking doors down along the way. We are 5150.
Back to Jason.
Yeah, he's got Caitlyn.
Yeah, he's really.
You and I are talking.
Is that where you got the all the artwork?
That's where all the artwork came
Is it
from.
left over from his skateboard days?
There's a lot of skateboard memories on my arms, neck,
Really?
hands.
Did you get pretty good? Did you compete?
I did compete. I was sponsored by a shop in Turlock. I did a couple competitions. Never got first. Got fourth, third, couple seconds, but never first.
What was it about skateboarding that attracted you?
It's the only thing that I've ever had a passion for. And the thing is, what I loved about skateboarding is it gave me the rush. Like, I love football. I love basketball. I love baseball. I love all sports. But
Did you play them?
I did. I did. I wasn't that good in them, and I didn't hit puberty till about 17 and a half. So basketball was out.
We would even argue he still hasn't hit puberty. You know?
He's a young kid.
He's a young kid.
Basketball was
Not
out.
married, no kids. We
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. Well,
We
true.
don't know.
We don't. None that you know of.
None that I know of.
Oh,
I
shit.
lived in Hollywood for a little bit, so there might be. But yeah, I did compete in skateboarding. I did. But it was my getaway. It was whatever you had going on in your head, skateboarding, it was just all gone. So that's why it was the passion that I've had. And yeah, that was my deal.
Yeah. No, that's, again, it's like finding something in your life. And I don't care what it is that, you know, you're excited about.
Absolutely. That's what I was excited to do every morning. I could not wake up, or I could not wait to wake up and go skate.
Do you have that in your life today?
This is a positive podcast. I absolutely do. I'm high on life. No. We're all about honesty too. I love this job. I love doing what we do here.
Yeah.
You know.
COVID's kind of slowed a lot of it up.
Oh, I know.
What can you do
Slowed
right now?
everything.
Because
It just went to zero. I was in London actually when the quarantine was coming down, and had to actually leave 2 days earlier from work in London to get home, so I didn't get stuck over there.
Right.
Yeah.
And and it's been kind of horrible since then.
Yeah.
Sophia's got a company that she was supposed to start April 1st in the sunscreen world, Lumisol.
Oh.
And so she had everything set up for a big launch. She was the official sunscreen of Coachella. She had all these things going on.
Nice.
And 2 weeks before she launched, everything shut down. I mean, it was like devastated. Fortunately, Lumisol's still alive and it's going. She's done a great job and keeping the company going.
Nice.
And you know, talk about passion for life. I mean, try starting a company in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah.
You know? But she's done a great job.
That's
she
awesome.
really has done. Yeah, she won't let it die.
That's what you got to do.
That's what you got to do.
I know when this thing first started, I was doing it by myself, Caitlyn, and then luckily when Mikey came on, because I was about ready to bash myself over the head, and I was at that breaking point at the end of each day. It's like, I love doing this. I know that it's going to get big, and then this guy, when he came on, goes, "Oh, don't worry. We're going to get there. We're going to talk to. We're going to get some
well,
big
that's good.
names
You know,
and get going."
you kind of play off each other.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So this
Go ahead.
was this considered a podcast?
Yeah.
Podcast,
Yeah, we're on all podcast platforms. So.
I got you. It's not easy. Was it inspired because you were stuck in quarantine?
You know,
See, that's what
I was stuck.
Carlos had the idea for a while.
Yeah.
but you didn't act on it.
No.
Until you were in quarantine.
Well, the way that it happened, so I was working in radio. Our company had gotten bought for like the third time, and it was a good company, but you know, 2 kids, ex-wife. I pretty much carry the financial load. She hasn't worked in years. She was a Monster Energy girl and all that stuff. Hey, Caitlyn, can you look in that camera?
I'm on the other side now.
Can you look at the camera and tell her to get a job?
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not getting involved. But go ahead.
Well, she's actually my biggest supporter. She's wigging out because she remember when I used to torture you and make you watch the Kardashians. I go, yeah. Speaking with the person that I enjoy the most to watch. No, I wasn't making a good living. I'm 42 and it's like, God, I want to do something I feel more inspired about. I did radio for 20 years, you know. I did the fun rock and roll.
What did you do, rock and roll?
I programmed rock, country, hip hop, news talk.
You weren't on the mic.
I was on air too. So by the end of my career, I was an operations manager and I programmed 4 of our 6 stations.
I got you.
So, yeah, and then Carlos, of course, I bumped into him at Target or something. His wife had hurt his back, so he was out doing the shopping, picking up the slack there. And guys, I got this thing. You're always talking about these podcasts you do. I was doing one that was only about Motley Crue, and then one that was like a morning show, just for fun, just because I love doing it. Calls me 3 hours later. Okay, I'm writing my autobiography. I'm telling my story about my addiction, and I want to start a podcast. And being that you come from a similar background of addiction, you're going to host it. Figure it out. Tell me what you need to build a studio, get out, and how it's going to go. And I was like, oh shit. All those things, you know, that be careful what you ask for. Yeah, it happened like that. You know?
I think it's good.
So,
no, I think the concept behind what you're doing is very good.
Yeah, thank
Everybody's got challenges. And motivation is extraordinarily important in people's lives. You know, I've been in the motivational speaking business, I hate to say, for like 50 years. I started right after the 72 Olympic Games, you know, and did it for years and years and years, and always enjoyed it. I don't like to travel because everything was, you know, big sales forces, this and that. You know, you're traveling all over the U.S. I mean, the travel kind of sucked at the time, but the presentations were fun. You know, it's fun to get up there and tell your story. And the things that went on behind it, and make a storyline, a beginning, middle, and end, and, you know, a reason for doing all of this. And I really enjoyed it. And the same thing happened to me when I've always enjoyed working. I've always worked. I've always had something to do. And when this whole quarantine came down, I'm sitting in this house day after day. Phone's not ringing. You know, the world's kind of stopped. And I'm, you know, just how many golf games can you play? You know, I got a plane, I fly that. It's good social.
I was going to ask you about that, if you still had your RC helicopters and planes and stuff.
They were down in the garage, but I haven't used them in a long time, and I won't touch them until I get back on the computer. But yeah, no, I got a real plane. Yeah, that I fly. And you know, doing that, but that was about it. You know, and I really had no place to go. You know, so I would do a lot of what we call tower and routes, IFR flights, and, you know, just to practice to keep, you know, and the plane's got to fly. It doesn't do well sitting. So, you know, that was it. And then I was starting to watch a lot of YouTube, and there's a lot of aviation stuff on YouTube. So I first thought, you know what? Why don't I start shooting aviation stuff, you know? First of all, nobody knows I even fly, let alone doing that. And I thought, well, that sounds like fun. And then I started thinking, maybe I could do like Jerry Seinfeld does Cars and Coffee. Celebrity Cars and Coffee, or whatever it is.
Cars getting coffee. Comedians and cars getting coffee.
Comedians getting coffee in a car or something. I don't know what it is. And I thought maybe I could do the same thing in an airplane. You know, take people to lunch somewhere, you know, select friends and this and that. And I thought that'd be a lot of fun. Talked to a production company about it, and they said insurance would kill you. And I go, oh, yeah, I can imagine. Okay. So I kind of put that back, but I didn't give up the idea of, you know, starting my own YouTube channel. And anyway, I slowly just started putting together. I bought a bunch of GoPro cameras. I mounted them on the plane. I'm doing all kinds of stuff. I went to Utah last week and met with this guy who's like the #1 YouTuber in aviation. And he built some of the most extraordinary planes. And just started putting content together. And at first I thought, my life's pretty boring. What's it going to work? I mean, honestly, the one that worked the other day was I got in the backyard, I got this gopher problem. So I thought, why don't I do a YouTube video on how to catch a gopher? How do you catch a gopher? Okay.
I would think it would be bunnies. I saw about 30 of them coming up here.
Well, yeah.
Or jackrabbits.
Yes. Well, unfortunately, yes. So I put it on YouTube and I said, I got a problem, you know, turn it to my YouTube channel. And I said, make a comment. What's the best way? I don't really want to like gas them out or something. I want to catch them and take them to the other side of the mountain and let them go and do their thing. Oh, I got all these suggestions of all these different things to do. One even said, call Bill Murray.
That's the same.
Yeah. I said, you know what? That's not a bad idea. Yeah, from Caddyshack.
Murray,
Yeah.
that's a good one.
And so,
On your deathbed. You
yeah, and I got great response, and I'm reading through all the responses. Some of them are really funny, you know, good people out there. But I do a wide variety of things, from the makeup tutorials to this and that.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Cooking shows, and I'm starting to do, I've got a couple of aviation shows, so I'm going to put those out. But I don't know if that fits my audience, the people that are watching. I don't know. But I just throw the stuff out there.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I just actually shot 3 shows this morning. I think people need motivation right now.
Yeah.
And so I'm doing probably a 5-part series on personal development and the things that I went through and the things I learned through sports and through life and all the things that raising families and all that sort of stuff. So I'm doing like a 5-part series. I'm shooting it now. I don't know when it's going to get out, but honestly, it's been fun because it gives me something to do during all this mess.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah, all this stuff that's going on.
You said something earlier when we were talking that really stuck with me about after you had been successful in the Olympics that this, oh gosh, this character now, or this almost sounded like a facade in your voice and what you were saying. I mean, how is it when dealing? Then now all of a sudden you become a broadcaster. You're on Wheaties boxes. I had a trading card with you.
Oh yes,
you know, and all those things.
You didn't save it. I could have signed it. I get them.
My mom's probably got it somewhere.
Yeah, she probably does have it.
She was flipping out. My mom normally doesn't curse, and I said, "Oh, we're going to talk with Caitlyn Jenner."
My sister was in tears.
She's welcoming us to her home.
Yeah.
My mom doesn't curse anymore. Holy fucking shit! Really? Like, yeah. Oh, well, tell her I said hi.
That's it. Well, say hi to mom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let us see the house. See what you could do. I was like, I'm not going to go in and take pictures of her house. It's just no.
But with that facade, how did you manage that? Was it still that voice of having come from a certain era in time where it's you don't talk about that, this isn't something you acknowledge, you bury it, put it, and that's how you handle problems?
I've been around for a long time. And identity issues have been around. It's part of humanity. It's been around forever. It's not, and nothing new. It's the way you deal with it. I remember when Renee Richards, tennis player, trans girl, came out and wanted to play on the women's tour. This is back in 1977, 78, after the games. I was like, whoa, talk about guts. Yeah. Especially back then. It was tough. And I mean, she did a good job. But I mean, people could be pretty brutal. Yeah. You know, I met her one time at an event, and I just wanted to go up and sit down and talk to her, you know, but I just couldn't, you know. And I just did my best to deal with it. I went through the roughest time in the 80s, where for 6 years, I lived right over that hill over there in a small little leased place. And basically stayed there for almost 6 years and kind of isolated myself from the world. The only time I came out is to like go to work. I had 4 kids from 2 previous marriages. Yeah. I really wasn't a good dad. I just was struggling with myself. I'm thinking, I'm going to transition before I'm 40. That's all there is to it. I'm going to do this. And I got to 39 and living in this house by myself, and I just couldn't do it. You know, I can't, this is 1989. Sure. I said, I just can't do it. I got to get back into life. I'm just rotting out here, you know? and I wasn't really interested in working, although I worked some. And I kind of changed my attitude the best I could, you know, because through those 6 years, I'd cross-dress, drive around, sneak around. Fortunately, never got caught. But the rumor mill started because I was on hormones for 4.5 years. I had my beard removed, 3 years of electrolysis. That's fun. So I had done some things and just couldn't go any further.
Yeah.
And fortunately, about 6 months after that, I kind of changed my attitude a little bit. Was set up by a friend, Chris and I met. We hit it off from day one. That was kind of the beginning of that run. 23 years we were together. We had a good marriage. 23 years together. We raised great kids.
Yeah.
Very proud of what she did, and hopefully what I did too with all my kids. I just tried to forget my old life as much as I possibly could, but it never really goes away. Yeah. It's always there. It's not like when you're gender dysphoric, it's not like, you know, there's any cure.
Sure.
Okay? Yeah, there's no cure. It's can't like, you can't go to the doctor and say, well, take 2 aspirin to get plenty of sleep and you're going to be just fine. No, you wake up in the morning and you still got the same problem.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a simple question. Okay? Both of you.
Sure.
All right. You've never been asked this question before in your life, I'm sure. And you've probably been asked every question there is out there,
Hang
right?
on, let me get ready.
Right. Sit up in your seats. Sit up tall. Are you ready?
Yes.
And I want to ask this question and just take a minute, a little bit of time to think about it. All right?
Okay.
To both of you. When did you know you were a boy? They're both staring out into the distance.
I think
thinking.
I remember feeling attraction towards girls really young, and knowing that they were different than I was. That was something that kind of gave me. But I've had to be honest with you, I mean, I've had confusion because of the trauma I went through. As molestation from a man, so I would question my own sexuality at times. It wasn't necessarily that I, not trans, but you know, okay, there was a man.
Who am I?
What
am I?
What am I? I mean, I have purple toenails. I'm a weird dude in that way. I do some weird stuff that people would say is weird. To me, it feels normal. You know,
Mickey, you were staring out into the.
Well, because I'm trying, Mikey. I'm trying to think.
Mickey.
I'm trying to think of like, well, ever since I was a young kid, I've always been attracted to, you know, first grade. I'll never forget. Her name was Debbie, little Debbie, and can I say her last name? I won't say her last name. Debbie Albers. Don't moved away. Whatever. You're out there. Hello, Debbie. I knew that she wasn't because I'm trying to figure out how to answer that. So I knew that she was a girl and I was a boy. So. No one told me that that's who you're supposed to like. That's how it is. That's what it's supposed to be. My parents, whatever I decided to do, still to this day, 100% supportive with and in anything.
I think we both answered it through our sexuality, though, not in the sense of what we're attracted to.
Well, you're right. I've never gotten asked that.
You're both answering in yes.
So yeah, there's
because gender identity,
sure,
being trans has nothing to do with sexuality.
Right.
Sure. It has everything to do with identity of who you are.
Yeah,
right.
That's why I asked that question. When did you know you were a boy? And you're both sitting up there looking up and, my God, when did I?
Well, you're right.
You were thinking, although you went off on the sexual thing, you perverts, you. You went
Sorry,
off on the
Debbie.
sexual stuff. But at first, that's how a trans person thinks.
Sure.
Okay? That simple question is in their head, and they can't get rid of it, you know? Yeah. And it's your identity. It's who you are, and you can't quite figure that out.
Yeah.
Okay? It's that simple. Why? I've read books and why and this and that. It's just, are you left-handed or right-handed?
Yeah.
Right-handed.
Right-handed?
Right-handed.
Right-handed. How boring. I'm left-handed.
I know, right?
My daughter's left-handed.
Yeah, what?
My daughter's left-handed.
Ooh,
brilliant
that's
artist.
interesting. That's actually, we'll talk about that later.
All right.
Anyway, yeah, I'm left-handed. Well, when I was a kid growing up, you know, back in the 50s and early, especially the 50s, you know, then all the teachers would say, a lot of them would say to people, fortunately, never happened to me, you know, you live in a right-handed world. You should kind of learn to write with your right hand. You know, the desks are made that way and all that. So, you know, you listen to, you know, the teacher. And, and so you put in your right hand and you start to learn to write with your right hand. And then at some point in your life, you know, you go, wait a second. You know, I know that teacher said that, but and we live in a right-handed world. But you know what? I've always felt better with the pen in my left hand.
Right.
Okay? Then you start writing with the pen in your left hand. And all of a sudden, the penmanship is better. The words flow out of your mind better. It just kind of works better that way. And it's the same with people in my community. There's no big secret. There's nothing. It's just, this is who they are, and things work better that way. You know? Yeah. Now, you get a lot of ridicule, this and that. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Can you know, do it? But it's, people have a tendency to overcomplicate it. It's a sexual thing. Well, you're attracted to boys when you're... No, it has nothing to do with sexuality. You know? It has nothing to do with that. It's about who you are. Yeah. Who you are. You know? Yeah. It's, what's the old saying? It's not about who you go to bed with. It's about who do you go to bed as. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Was it tough when you first started? I mean, you were on one of the most popular TV shows in the last X amount of years. Yeah. And, you know, having, you know, the interpersonal stuff with the family, and it's such a personal, you know, thing there, and the support to have it all out there on TV and all that. Was that?
Yeah, the show was great.
Yeah?
Yeah. I had some of the best. I did over 400 and something episodes.
This has been for a long time, yeah.
Yeah, it was over 13 years. I haven't done it for the last couple of years, although I just did a couple of episodes. And those were some of the best times we had. My young kids, Kendell and Kylie, basically grew up on camera. They were like, you know, 9 and 10, somewhere right around in there. And they grew up on camera. It was very good for them. They went on to do extraordinary things in their lives, you know.
Yeah,
and a lot of it was
based
they're
doing pretty well.
Yeah.
They're doing all right.
You said something to Bert Kreischer that cracked me up. I have 10 kids and not one of them asked me for money. I think I did well.
Yes, yeah, not one has ever asked me for money. And so, it was, we had some of the most fun. Yeah, it was tough putting a lot of the issues out there. Yeah, it's kind of tough. You know, everybody kind of reading your, you know, your dirty mail or whatever. But the producers were all on our side. That they want the show to be good. I mean, every show ended when everybody made up.
Sure.
Yeah. You know, it's that kind of show. Yeah, you have arguments and you have fights, but at the end,
it's always
family. You love it. This and that. We had some of the greatest vacations.
Oh, I know.
On the show, we went all over.
I felt like I was on them with you guys.
We went all over the place, had these great vacations, and did these wonderful things all together as a family.
Sure.
I had some of the best conversations with my kids on camera. Because the camera was there, it kind of forced you to deal with some of the issues. Where if the camera's not there, and you know you're not shooting, you kind of, well, we'll talk about that tomorrow. Right? You know, but the camera's coming over, and you know what? We got to deal with it. So I had some of the best conversations with my kids, and they were so comfortable in front of the camera, you know, as time went on. And, you know,
I was going to say,
like, all the cameramen were the same, the producers are the same. They were like family.
I was going to say, so they're part of your family now,
yeah,
too.
they're part of the family.
So when you first started out, were you doing the show, were you a little hesitant because Kendell and Kylie were so small, you didn't know if you wanted cameras around them, or was it just kind of...
I think they were more hesitant.
They were?
Yeah. They weren't really that into it when they were really young.
The Knockin Doorz Down autobiography by Carlos Vieira. It takes you deep into his destructive past and how racing saved his life and opened the door to give back to the community. And 100% of the sales go directly to the Carlos Carlos Vieira Foundation, an organization committed to raising awareness for addiction, mental health, and autism. And for inspiration and motivation, tune in weekly to the podcast every Thursday for real-life episodes from celebrities and local heroes. Get Knockin Doorz Down today at kddmediacompany.com or Amazon.
But they kind of grew up on there, and they
Right.
got better and better and better and more comfortable with the show. But at first, I think Kendell probably had more issues with it just because, you know, she's in school, you know, she's a young teenager growing up, everybody sees it, they know her, all that kind of stuff. And I might have been a little tougher on her, but she's a strong kid, you know, strong kid. And, you know, eventually they just saw how good it is for them and for their lives and what they're doing.
Sure.
You know, Chris put everything they made into a trust until they were 18.
Oh.
So when they turned 18, it was, you know, they had a nice little nest egg there.
Yeah.
Kendell wanted to be a model, and she went out, and
Did
4
it.
years later, highest paid model and the most successful model in the world, you know?
Did it.
Yeah, she did it. Kylie started her cosmetic company with
Yeah.
that. So, yeah, they've done very well because of the show.
Yeah, I saw something on your Instagram the other day. I think you were using one of Kylie's products or something.
Oh,
You were
yes,
talking
yes,
about.
yes.
That's great.
This family loves a good promotion. Yeah. And everybody helps everybody. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Go ahead,
Well,
Caitlyn.
that's
Kyle's
great. The whole
Cosmetics. What's it
family's, because of the show, the whole
Yeah.
family's very close. And it
Sure.
brought all of us together.
Yeah, and that's great to hear because I think the perception that some people would have might be quite the opposite. Because if you know, those that view and make judgment, that like to make judgment, they go, "Oh, it's just for show."
All you have
It's
to do
just-
is read Instagram or, you
Yeah.
know, read comments, and you go, oh,
Yeah.
these idiots. Yeah.
Yeah.
Social media. Oh, they took
That's
social
okay,
media
yeah.
to the next level.
Sure.
Absolutely.
I mean, I remember Ryan Seacrest, it was his production company that we teamed up with right at the beginning because he had a deal with E. And I remember right at the beginning, Ryan goes to the girls, he goes, you know, you have to get on Twitter. We all looked at him.
What the hell?
What the hell is Twitter?
It's still new to us too.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
and I'm
new to
going,
you.
Yeah, and I'm going, I have no idea what that is. And they all go, oh, okay, we'll get on, you know. So they really started with social media right at the beginning. And they're all, every one of them, extraordinarily entrepreneurial.
Yeah, you can see it.
Kimberly is by far, I think, she's out there the most. I mean, she started her first company when she was 18.
Right.
You know, before the show even started.
She was outfitting celebrities, right?
Yeah, she was helping with their closets.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And she would go in and organize her closets and tell them they got to get rid of this, they got to get rid of that. And, oh, she did an amazing job. You know, some of these closets in Beverly Hills, because she knew all her friends, I mean, were just huge. Yeah, she worked out a really good deal. She says, I'll take all the clothes you're not going to have. She started a eBay account, okay, with all these clothes, and then so she didn't charge them to clean their, you know, to do their closet, and she split it. They got 70%, she got 30% of any of the sales,
Yeah.
which I thought was pretty smart.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
Nate
yeah.
was great for them because they would get rid of the clothes and they'd get, you know, 7%, whatever they could get for the clothes, and Kimberly made her money by the other 30%.
Yeah.
Sounds like a pretty smart girl.
Yeah.
Kimberly's amazing. I mean, she's in law school right now.
I didn't know that.
I
Yeah.
heard that. Yeah.
Yeah,
She said
she's
that on Letterman, right?
working.
Was that Letterman?
Yeah, she's working on her law degree.
Yeah.
Here in California, you can actually get your law degree and not technically go to college. She spends about 20 hours a week getting tutored by people, but that qualifies her to get into, take different steps into eventually taking the bar. And,
I'll be there.
yeah,
I
she's amazing. 4 kids,
Yeah.
okay. Very successful businesses she runs, she oversees, and she's done very, very well, you know,
Yeah.
and she's getting her law degree. I mean, amazing kids. Every one of
Yeah.
my kids, amazing.
Yeah. Well, I know that you know you yourself, that kind of entrepreneurial spirit and go-getter too. And
Yeah,
so it's kind of
like
it.
that stuff.
Seems to be for all your kids, especially the ones that you raised with Chris. And she seems entrepreneurial and
Yeah, all the kids. Everybody works hard.
yeah.
You know, I think talk about inspiration from a parenting standpoint. Actually, I was having this conversation with Kylie the other night. We were talking about, she's a mom, talking about parenting.
Sure.
But anyway, my view on parenting is you have to talk to your kids, okay? And a lot of times when you're talking to your kids about certain things, about the way to conduct their lives and this and that, you know, you listen to them, they're listening to you and you think, it's going in one ear and out the other, okay? It's going in one ear and out the other, and you just keep trying and trying, and you don't see any results until later. All of a sudden you watch them as a parent saying a lot of the same things you said, okay? So they were listening. I remember first time my dad, great person, unfortunately he's gone, but I remember the first time with my kids, I grew up rock and roll, 50s, 60s, rock and roll, you know, always happened. Elvis Presley, this and that. You know, my dad, World War II veteran, you know, we're listening to the radio. And you know how everybody argues over the radio and this and that, and, you know. And, you know, my dad going, now turn that stuff off, you know. And I'm sitting in the back seat, you know, thinking, when I'm older, I'm going to be like the coolest parent ever. You know,
Of course.
I would never, ever say that to my kids. Okay?
Yeah.
That's why God invented rap. Okay? So,
and you have one of your children married to one of the most famous rap artists ever.
yes, I know.
Arguably
I love
the famous.
Kanye.
Yeah.
I love Kanye. But anyway, so then one day, I'm in the car. I was driving Kourtney and Kimberly. They were in junior high, I think. Yeah, junior high. And I was driving them to school. And they had put this CD in. And it was just like horrible. Every other word was a cuss word and this and that. I'm going, oh, God, I can't take this, you know. And I'm saying, sorry, guys. You know, I need to go to talk radio or something. I don't know what it was. So I give them to them in the back, and you know, we finished the last 10 minutes to go to school. They get out of the car and they leave. Driving down the road, and I look and see there was that CD on the seat. They had left it in the car. I look at it and I say, should I? And I'm thinking, they'll never know. I grab it, open up the passenger side window. I'm coming up Beverly Glen. I see a big open field. Wham! Big frisbee, that sucker right out the window. Okay, it was gone. And of course, you know, a day or two later, they go, did you see that CD? I don't know what. Hey, I have no idea where it went.
You better take good care of your things. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, so I was doing the same thing my dad was doing. You know, I became like my father.
Yeah.
You know? But I think in closing up the story, when you talk to your kids, but I think the most important thing you can do is for your kids is it's about your character and how you deal with life. If you have a drug problem, if you have this, your kids see that.
Sure.
Okay? They see that. And it's almost like, is that what I'm going to be when I get older? If you're just not a nice person, especially like to other people, you know, you just like, let's say you have a maid at the house and you treat the maid like crap. You know, like, hey, get over here and do this, go do that. Your kids are sitting there watching it. Okay, that's what they're going to do. So the way you conduct your life is as important, if not more. You know, do you exercise? Do you take care of yourself? Do you eat healthy? You know, you personally. You know, your kids see all of that kind of stuff. You know, you get your exercise in. Do you have hobbies? The list goes on and on and on. So I think it's a combination, but I think your character and the type of person you are and the way you deal with life is by far one of the most important things.
Yeah.
You know, one of the most important things when it comes to raising kids.
Absolutely. Yeah, being a person in general. I know we're getting low on time here. Do you want to throw a couple rapid fire questions Caitlyn's way real quick?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
What's your good one?
My favorite one is ask if you could have any superhero power, what would it be? Any superpower.
I was going to say to run really fast. Oh, wait.
Oh, wait, I did that. To win the Olympics.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, being invisible.
Mm.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah, sneak around.
Mine's teleportation. Just boom.
Oh,
there.
yeah. Oh, okay. I like that.
New York. I'm in New York now.
Yeah.
Mine's healing.
What's that?
Healing people. I could heal, like touch someone and heal them.
Ooh, that's a
See,
good
now
one.
don't you
Oh,
feel
he's such a
I
good
know,
guy.
I know.
It's just
He always
like-
makes me feel like such a dick when he says that. Because
Yeah.
I'm over here at transportation. I want to heal people. I'm like,
Yeah, I know.
I'll just shut up then.
Yeah.
If you can have dinner with anybody, dead or alive, who would you pick and why?
I had dinner with my dad.
Yeah.
See, one of the sad things about transitioning and living my life authentically and all that kind of stuff is my dad missed all that.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and I often wonder, my mom, 94, no problem whatsoever.
That's incredible.
She's great.
That's
She likes
awesome.
me more now.
I dig it.
Yeah, she likes me more now. I call her every day.
That's great.
Like I never did that before. I love Caitlyn. She's so much better. I often wonder how my dad would have handled that.
Sure.
I mean, he was a World War II veteran,
Mm-hmm.
kind of a tough guy
Sure.
and this and that, but he loved me to death, and he loved, his son going to the games and winning, and so proud of my accomplishments, and on and on and on. And at first I thought, well, I wonder how Dad would react to this. And I think I can see him. The first time I told him what's going on, he would just kind of probably look at me and says, "What the hell are you talking about?" I can see that. I can see that happening. But on the other hand, my dad was a very loving person. I think after the initial shock and learning about being trans, and trying to try the good I'm trying to do in bringing this issue forward, so people can understand more, because trans people are around. They've been around forever. Yeah. They're not going away. It's just part of humanity.
Sure.
Okay, and it's and I think he'd be very proud. So that's what I hope. But you'll never really know. So I'd want to have dinner with my dad and talk to him, have that conversation with him.
I love
hear
it.
you.
I love it. Any pet peeves? You have like one major pet peeve that just
Because I got a ton.
grinds your axe.
Lazy people. People who are not motivated, don't want to do something with themselves, and just kind of, it's like, get off your butt and do something. There's a million things you can do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any more, Mike?
I think we could wrap it up.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your
That's
time.
it? It's over?
I think we've been wrapped up.
We've been wrapped up. We're wrapping it
I
up.
could keep talking.
To the Hilton or wherever you're going?
I'm bummed. We didn't even get into motorsports. And
Oh, well,
I wanted
that's
to talk
true.
about Willie T.
Actually, I
Riggs.
went in
And
the car
yeah,
up
I
there.
saw that.
Yeah, that's my most famous car.
Yeah.
Yeah, we won Sebring, and I
Right.
had the lead at Daytona for 23 and a half hours.
That was in 86. Yeah.
And, oh, God, me and Pruitt.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pruitt. Do you know that story?
No.
Oh, quickly. This was 1983. I'm doing commentary on Indy cars at Phoenix at the Oval. And they had a demonstration of these lay-down supercarts.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, and there's Pruitt there, and I had heard about it because I had karts.
Yeah.
But I just raced locally. And this guy, Scott Pruitt, was there. I said, yeah, I've heard about this kid. I'm going to go over there, So I go over and meet his mom, his dad, and this and that. And I ask him, what do you want to do with all this? He had like 13 national titles, world titles. He was like king of karting. And I know racing, if you could drive a kart, you could drive anything.
Yeah.
Okay? Those things are tough.
Yeah.
And to be that good. So he says, well, you know, I'd like to win Indy someday. And I said, oh, cool, okay. I said, I'm starting a relationship with Ford Motor Company. I gave him this guy named Michael Kranifis, who was the head of Special Vehicle Operations, SVO division.
Oh, okay.
Ran racing at Ford Motor Company. I said, I'm just working and talking to them. Maybe I could have you drive with me. You know? Well, it took almost 2 years. And he had done a little bit of small GTU racing and stuff. And it took 2 years until 1985 at Elkhart Lake. Finally, Ford says, okay, let's bring him on. Now, he had never driven a car this big and heavy, and, you know, it's GTO car's a quick car.
Yeah.
Anyway, he went out within 10 laps, had it on the pole. And then the next session, it was pouring down rain, and he went out and was 5 seconds faster than the whole field. And so I said to Ford, see, I'm telling you for a year, that's the kid I want, you know? And so we worked out a deal that in '86 would be our first year that we would run together. That in the long races we ran together, you know, Sebring, 24 hours, all these types of stuff. And the shorter races, we both had our own independent car. And we just cleaned up, and that was that 711 Mustang over there. Yeah. We just cleaned up. We won everything. We won the endurance championship for all of them, so we beat out the GTP cars. Yeah, we had 7 wins that year. Should have won 24 hours at Daytona. We had the lead and had a spur gear. Had to come in, change the tire, or change the engine. Jack Roush actually got under the car to change the transmission. And went back out and lost by, we had such a lead, but we lost by a lap to Toyota.
That's crazy.
But then on Sebring, we won on the last lap after 12 hours. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Brooke was in the car, not me.
Just enjoyed Sebring. It was nice to see that they were able to do it this year. They just had it. But no, because I was a big Ford guy. So and prior to my kids, I owned a Mustang, but it was a Saline, and that really the IMSA and all that stuff was really got me into Ford and Mustangs. And
I drove the old 935 Porsches. Still a lot of little prototype stuff.
Yeah,
the old 935 Porsches. There were a lot of those years. I mean, they're sick cars. Yeah, they. It's funny. You move up and you drive these faster cars and this and that. You get in them the first time and you go, man, this thing goes. and then you get in the race and you only the speed is only a quarter-mile an hour difference between you and the car in front of you or the one behind you, and you don't even realize the speed. Just braking points and all that kind of stuff, and the speed kind of goes away.
Yeah, it kind of becomes a byproduct of it.
Yeah.
It's accepted. You're going to go
I don't
fast.
think people realize how difficult the sport is.
No, not a clue.
They have no idea. How they think you just, put your foot down. Who's got the most guts to break the last? That has nothing to do with any of that stuff.
Yeah. This guy gives me shit because I watch NASCAR, IndyCar, Formula One.
It's not that I don't respect the people doing it. It's just I personally can't. I just can't. You don't watch football.
What are you talking about?
You don't watch football. Right, this season I don't. This season I don't. I'm a Niner fan, so I screw football this season.
Yeah, I know. Actually, I'm kind of over. I have never been a big football, basketball, and baseball.
No.
I never ever got into it.
No?
I watch, the only thing I watch is I watch golf.
Okay.
I'll watch golf and auto racing.
Yeah. When you had a son-in-law that played for the Lakers, did you have to kind of...
I had no choice.
I was going to say, you kind of had to. You had to go to games.
Yeah,
it must have been awful.
We had to go like the finals.
that sounds horrible.
Sit in the front row.
Watching Kobe Bryant work his magic.
Yeah, work his magic with Lamar.
This talk's done.
I like
We're
Lamar.
done.
I really like Lamar.
He was.
We talked to him. He was great.
It was awesome.
He was great.
To be able to speak with him and to see him doing well.
Really?
Yeah, he was a 10th.
I wish him nothing but the best.
Yeah.
We used to have some of the greatest conversations.
Oh, I bet.
He was very interested in politics, but he really didn't know that much about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I follow politics fairly closely. And so we used to have just great conversations, and talk about this and talk about that. Yeah, I really like him. I'm glad he's doing well.
Yeah.
Because he's obviously dealing with a lot of demons of his own.
Yeah.
Don't we all have those?
Yes, we do.
The good news is I'm doing so good now. I just wake up every morning and be myself.
I love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's incredible. It really is.
Caitlyn, if there's anything you could leave as we wrap it up for those listening that maybe they are transgender themselves or someone that they love, that we can bring just better understanding and acceptance.
First of all, if you have a young person, that depends on how I've had people come up to me who are, you know, their kids are 4, 5, 6 years old. I think maybe I said, first of all, don't panic. Okay. Don't panic. Okay, there's a lot of growing up to do here. Okay, don't panic right now and don't change anything. The most important thing from a parent, for a young person growing up who maybe struggling with their identity, or maybe they're not, you know, they may grow out of it. Who knows? Is provide a loving home. Number one, provide a loving home. Love that kid. Just love them to death. Know that they have, when they come home, they are living in a safe environment. You know, even if they go out and sometimes, you know, kids can bully them, or you know, it's tough out there. Okay, they got to know when they come home, it's a loving home and a peaceful place to be. That's by far number one. And give these kids an opportunity to, you know, explore, find themselves, get them to understand themselves. Doesn't mean they're all going to transition or this or that. That may or may not happen. But it's not the end of the world, you know. I have seen so many trans people who just struggled. I mean, just major struggling. And then finally, you know, because they're afraid what's going to happen, transition, and then just blossom as a person, you know. Start businesses. It's like all that's behind you, and now you kind of can get on with life.
Yeah.
You know, and there's especially social media. Kids, like if they're in school, other kids can be cruel, can be tough, and social media can be really tough. You know, I mean, if you read my comments on Instagram, I don't read them very often. Once at times I do. You know, there's still all these jerks that are out there and just like, you know, call you Bruce, and, you know, what about your voice and this and that and that. They're miserable people. They're not happy. You know what? I wake up in the morning and I'm happy. You know, it takes me longer to get ready. Okay. Takes me longer
But
to get
you're
ready,
happy
but I'm
doing
just
it.
fine. Yeah, I'm just fine. And all those issues, I just don't even have them anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I just can get on with life. And my kids have been very accepting, and my family, and I got great friends, and yeah, life's good.
Life is good.
Yeah, life's good. Yeah.
Miss Caitlyn Jenner, thank you for welcoming us into your home.
Oh, it was a pleasure. Nice having you.
Thank
I'm glad you guys got your lives straightened out too.
Yes, we did.
Yes.
Getting there.
Getting there. Well,
Getting there.
that's true. Yeah,
Getting there.
it's always.
Work in progress.
That
Yeah,
still
that's-
cracks me up. I read your guys' bios. You guys are way more.
Yeah.
Yes, you're probably right.
Yes, I know. How did you guys get this job?
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
This guy's been divorced and, you know.
And you had a cocaine problem. I saw that. Don't think
You're drinking yourself to death over here? Jesus Christ,
me,
man.
I'm fine. Give me a great outfit. I'm ready to go. Yeah.
You're beautiful. I
All
love
right.
it. Thank you.
It was a pleasure, guys.
Knockin' Doorz Down, showing pots of rhyme. I'm a